Hey guys, welcome to Tech Tip Tuesday at Imagination Creations. I'm a nut when it comes to organization in my editing. I like to be super clean with everything and keep it all organized. One great way I like to do that is by using label colors. Let's take a look at how label colors can help you in your editing workflow. Label colors can be used in a couple of different ways. You can assign label colors to your footage and clips in your bin, and you can also assign label colors to clips on their timeline. Premiere Pro gives you 8 label color defaults that you can work with, and they can be customized in a few ways. If you go up to Premiere Pro and then Preferences, you'll see a drop down for label colors. In there you could do two different things. Firstly, you could change the color altogether to any color you like. I like to leave the default colors because they work for me, but you could choose whatever you like. The second thing you could do is change the names. The default names that Premiere Pro gives you aren't always the most intuitive, so I sometimes like to change them to something that makes a little more sense to me. For example, rather than forest, I'll call this one green, and here, instead of mango, I'll call it orange. You could choose whatever you like. Click OK, and then those defaults are now updated. What you could do in your bins is label colors with those different labels. For example, I have some clips of the bedroom down here in this footage that I recently shot. If I right-click those and go to Label, I could choose any color I want them to be labeled as. So for the bedroom, I'll turn them into orange. The problem I have with the system is that the colors are not updated here at all. So you don't really know if it's actually taken effect. What you could do, however, is bring those clips down to the timeline, and you'll see that they are orange. Another example, let's say I have these clips of the kitchen, and I want to turn those into green. Just click on green. I don't see any change, but once I bring them down here, I do see that they are in green. So that's a good way to organize your bin footage. That type of system doesn't work retroactively. For example, let's say I have this clip of the sink that I bring to the timeline. It's in its default blue color here, iris as they call it. If I were to change that color to lavender, for example, it changes on the timeline, but that change is not reflected in the bins. So if I see that same clip here, and I try to bring it down again, it goes back to the iris blue color, and it doesn't update to the lavender color, because those changes only took place on the timeline directly. Another great use for label colors is to sort through footage from interviews. For example, let's get rid of all this off our timeline. Here's a few interviews that I shot a while back. I'm going to put a few of them on the timeline, for example. And let's say I know that in this interview, from here to here, she's speaking about a particular topic. So I'll make some cuts, and then I'll label this as lavender. So I know that in my interviews, whenever somebody's speaking about that particular topic, they'll be labeled as lavender. For example, I'll put her down, cut the areas that I've already watched and know she's speaking about that same topic, label as lavender again, and then for example here, if she's speaking about a different topic, I'll label that as a different color. Same applies to the next clip. Of course, this assumes that you've already watched the clips and gone through the content. And the great thing about doing this is when you end up with a whole lot of footage on your timeline, and you just want to select those particular clips that refer to that color, what you could do next is right-click on any given color, go to Label, and choose Select Label Group. What that will do is select all the clips that you've assigned to that particular color. So for example, now it'll select both of those lavender clips. If I want, I could then cut them out, paste them later on my timeline, and then edit a mini sequence of just those topics. Now to give you an idea of how this works on a more complex project, I've switched over to something I worked on a while back. Now you could see this timeline looks like a whole rainbow of colors, but they do mean something. So if I were to go to my preferences and label colors, each color has something that it refers to. So let's say I want to work on my section in my video about staff. I know that all of this color is staff, so what I need to do is right-click on any one of those clips, choose Select Label Group, and then all the clips of that color about staff are highlighted. What I'll do is hit Command X to cut, go to the end of my timeline, paste all those clips, then I know that those are all the clips I have to work with that have to deal with staff, so I can edit those internally. I'll do the same thing on all my other topics, then put them all in sequence, and that really helps me to make some progress in my video edit. The way you label things really depends on your own preferences and the type of project you're working in. for example, many people like to label these things according to their footage as opposed to the content. So for example, this might be cam 1, cam 2, graphics, audio, etc. So the possibilities really just depend on what you want to do with it and what works best for you. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click here to subscribe to our channel for more great tips every week, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll see you next time.